Do you constantly feel burnt out by all the fitness and wellness content there is out there? It's totally understandable to care about your health, but it feels like everybody wants you to do the absolute most to be the healthiest version of yourself possible. And this isn't just like eating well and moving a bit more. It's like eating very specific supplements.
The girls who understand electrolytes with filtered water and 30 grams of protein in the morning before coffee, ice rolling, tongue scraping, oil pulling, cold showers, 15 minutes direct sunlight in the morning, 30-minute daily walks, ginger tea and magnesium at night, low impact workouts.
Being hyper restrictive of foods that are really normal and healthy and there's nothing wrong with.
100 maximum calories daily, 8 hours of rest every night, and 8 hours of work every day of the week. 5 to 9 routine before the 9 to 5 grind, and add in 2 nights a week to socialize. But don't drink too much alcohol, and hot girl walk for cardio, Pilates to build muscle, and find your weight, double it for your ideal protein intake. Employ a 12-step skincare routine and lymphatic drain your face.
From filtering your tap water, eliminating fluoride toothpaste, all the way up to crazy coffee enemas. And people fall in lots of different areas on the spectrum. Maybe you care a little bit about your health, so you do want to engage with some of this content, but some of the extreme stuff is really burning you out and really getting to you. And you're trying to fit in all of these things in during the day, as well as maybe being a mum like me, or having a busy job, or trying to run a business, or just trying to get by in this economy. Not to mention the fact that like eggs are really expensive right now, and just fresh vegetables, never mind getting the brand new Shajiat supplement, whatever it is. I don't even know how to pronounce that. It looks like Marmite. Or like functional mushrooms, or whatever you're into right now. All of those supplements and things that you're trying to do to help your health, they're really expensive, and it's really hard to wade through all of the science and find out what is actually evidence-based, what has like a tiny like 0.1% improvement, and what is actually good for you. I love Sohi, she's a great content creator, and she summed it up in this video.
Do you want to be fit and healthy? Copy my exact diet and workouts. If you're disciplined like me, you too can achieve peak health and the body of your dreams. I definitely won't mention the role that genetics plays in our health. I'll ignore the fact that I'm able-bodied with no chronic illnesses, work from home with flexible hours, have a home gym, am child-free, and have access to a plethora of resources such as the luxury of time. I also won't acknowledge that fit and healthy doesn't actually have one look. And even if you eat and exercise just like me, you still won't have the same body as me, because that goes against my narrative. If you dare to point out that I'm privileged, I'll get super offended and remind you that actually, I work harder than everyone else and you're all just lazy and playing the victim. You have to want it badly enough. No excuses. Follow for more super relatable motivational content.
Okay, so she summed up a lot in that one video. Let's break that down a little bit.
Do you want to be fit and healthy? Copy my exact diet and workouts. If you're disciplined like me, you too can achieve peak health and the body of your dreams.
Her first point about wellness and fitness influencers telling you to copy their exact diet and workouts insinuates that your body is going to look like theirs if you train and eat like them, and that you should just be dedicated, because they don't see that all of us have completely different lives. I've touched on before that like I live in the UK and my commutes everywhere are like 30 minutes. I live in like the bottom end of the UK. I'm not in a city. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And in America, I found out recently there's like 2-hour commutes. When I went to the US myself, I landed in Chicago O'Hare, and I was like, oh, like also in Chicago, there's like other things I can see, like that big silver bean thing. Fun fact, I used to be an art teacher. I love Anish Kapoor, and there's that big sculpture that he did, and I was like, I'll just pop over and see that. Turns out it's like a couple of hours away, but still in Chicago, and like I'm not used to that. And then it made me realize that Americans have bigger commutes, Canadians have bigger commutes, people in larger, more expensive countries have much bigger commutes. So they might not be able to fit in the things that I am able to fit in, despite maybe having a similar life. So they might be a mum, they might have a business or a job, they might be juggling a lot of things like I am, but the difference between me and them is they have to commute for 2 hours between all of these things. So their time is eaten up much more than mine would be with my 30-minute commute. It's not just about dedication, but that sells. That's what people like to believe. And unfortunately, a lot of people like to be hard on themselves, and they're like, I just need to be more dedicated. So they kind of agree with these influencers. They already feel bad about themselves. So they just use this narrative to make themselves feel worse. They double down. They're like, and I know this because I worked with clients like this. They think, oh, I'm just being lazy. I just need to dedicate myself more. I just need to push harder. And it's like, no, like your life is busy. Maybe we could just try and fit in some kind of workout routine that fits with your life and your commutes and your job and your parenting, instead of trying to act like somebody else.
I definitely won't mention the role that genetics plays in our health. I'll ignore the fact that I'm able-bodied with no chronic illnesses.
Yes, genetics. Genetics is a huge factor. And also being able able-bodied and not having any chronic illnesses, those are huge barriers to fitness and exercise. And also injuries is not mentioned, but that is a big factor. I've had clients that have gone down the path of working out really, really hard, doing a certain fitness methodology that they've loved for so many years, but then they've ended up with an injury. And a couple of them have been waiting for surgery on that injury. A couple of them have just needed like a workaround because they don't want to niggle it over and over and over again. So you can't follow someone's specific fitness routine if you have niggles, if you have injuries. And genetics play such a huge part, and I will fully admit that I'm pretty sure I'm genetically gifted with quite a high level of strength. Either that or it's the nature nurture thing, isn't it? I grew up on a farm, and since I was probably about 5, I was moving around feed bags. I was doing lots of stuff on the farm. I was bashing in fence posts. I was moving bales of hay. I was climbing up bales of hay. My lifestyle was very, very active, and a lot of it involved moving things. So although I only started strength training 8 years ago, I've pretty much been strength training my whole life. And the first time I picked up a bar to do a deadlift, I deadlifted 90 kilos without even trying. And that is higher than a lot of people can even achieve with many years of training. A lot of people don't ever get to 90 kilos, especially like the everyday person that maybe only does it a couple times a week. But they don't want to tell you that, because if a fitness influencer tells you that, it makes them seem less dedicated, less good, like they've tried less hard. But some of us, like I did 6 months of strength training and got that 90 kilo deadlift to 150 kilos. And that meant, this was before CrossFit, that meant I went into CrossFit with a deadlift higher than most people that I knew in Cornwall that did CrossFit. And that was purely just luck and genetics. And that massively transferred over to my cleans, my snatches, any kind of Olympic lift. I've always had a massive strength base. Genetics. To the point where people were accusing me of being on steroids. Like, a regular person that just goes to the gym would be on steroids when they're not even that good at CrossFit. Crazy. But it's because they're comparing themselves to me and my strength base, just as we, all of us, have probably compared ourselves to other people that we see online, thinking, why can't I be that good at that thing? Why can't I get a mile time that's that fast? Why can't I be that good at strict muscle ups? Genetics play a big role, lifestyle plays a big role, and that's what fitness influencers don't want to tell you.
Work from home with flexible hours, have a home gym.
Working from home with flexible hours and having a home gym, two things that I personally do. Occasionally now I do work outside of the house just because when my partner has my baby girl, it's difficult to do stuff like filming if she is unsettled or very excited in the background. And I also have a home gym. It's a garage gym. It's very unaesthetic and there's clearly boxes and bits of sofas all over the place. But there are a lot of people that do have these really snazzy fancy home gyms. They work from home. It's so much easier to fit in time to do any sort of fitness or strength work if you work from home and you have a home gym. You would literally be able to go and work out on your lunch break. It's currently like 10 a.m. right now, 10:50. And I've been filming for a little bit. I looked after little Pixie until about 8:30 and then I went and trained in my home gym. I did a 45-minute session. I had a shower and I was basically in here doing work from 10 a.m. That is a very quick turnaround from parenting in the morning, training in the gym, having a shower, and then getting on with my day. There are loads of people that can't do that because they have a 9 to 5. They're in work right now. But they're never going to be like, maybe you have less time than me, because it makes them look bad. It doesn't make them look as good or as dedicated or as amazing as they present themselves to be, because they want it to seem like they're like a superhuman example, like anybody can do it. Like, suck it up, drop your excuses. You can do this. You can be as dedicated as me. You just need to try harder. Which is like not right. It's not correct.
I'm child-free and have access to a plethora of resources such as the luxury of time.
Child-free, another big thing. I didn't have a baby until 5 months ago, and it was a lot easier to fit in fitness stuff because I didn't have to think about somebody that was going to look after my baby while I go and train in the gym. I didn't have to think about bringing her with me. And I am so lucky that I have a equal partner. My partner wants to be fully involved and he is also a personal trainer. And we had an agreement that when she was born, I would get 3 sessions in the gym a week and so would he. And the other person would then look after her while we were training. And we also have a dog, and we decided that runs are free, or walks. So if you want to go out and walk the dog or go out and run with the dog, then you can do that. So that's why for me, going on my running journey, starting Couch to 5K, has been super easy, because if I say I want to go for a run, it's an automatic yes between me and my partner. If he is home and I'm like, I want to go for a 30-minute run, he's like, yeah. Like, that's fine. And I would do the same for him. But a lot of people, especially parents that are struggling with having to be the sole carer of a child the whole time, being the default parent that maybe doesn't have an equal partner, either because that partner is at work all the time, or because they are raised differently, or that you have a different agreement in your partnership, or because the other partner is just doing it by default, because often a lot of men do that. They just think, I go to work and I come home, even if my wife also brings home an income, they think that childcare is the woman's job. And that's different in lots of places around the world as well. It's different in the US as it would be in the UK, that in Europe it is a little bit more progressive and a lot more people are like equal partners and having these kind of conversations. And then in other parts of the world, the trad wife kind of way of living is more the norm. And at the end of the day, I support all kinds of family living. Whatever you want to do, whatever is right for you, that's what you should do. But it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that you're going to have time to fit all this stuff in if you are the main default parent. You're going to struggle more than someone like me that has an equal partner. You're going to struggle more than someone else that works from home all day and can fit that kind of stuff in, or that has a bigger income and maybe their partner can work less and do more of the childcare.
I also want to acknowledge that fit and healthy doesn't actually have one look. And even if you eat and exercise just like me, you still won't have the same body as me, because that goes against my narrative.
And this is something I say a lot. Fitness is not a look. And you can debate that all you like, but it's true. I actually have a lower heart rate now than I have ever had. Ever. Literally ever. Than when I was thin. Ever. My resting heart rate currently is 49 beats per minute. It's sub 50. It's never been sub 50. And no, resting heart rate isn't the only metric for health, but I can also run for like 37 minutes at the moment. I'm running for longer and longer. I'm doing a 5K next week. I may have already done it by the time this video goes out. And I can do lots of different things that means that I am fit. But a lot of people will say that I'm not fit because of the way that my body looks. And a lot of fitness influencers don't acknowledge that fitness doesn't have a look and that fitness and health come in all different shapes and sizes, because a lot of them make a large amount of their money or their followers based off of how their body looks. And you can see this by, if you see like a workout split video or a what I eat in a day video, it will always start with a body check. I'll put up a little example, but basically at least the first 3 seconds, like if we talk about a visual hook in social media, something that grabs your attention, 99% of the time with fitness influencers, it is how their body looks. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do, but it would be so helpful if they started to point out that fitness doesn't have one look, and that even if you train in the exact same way that they do, your body may look different, so that people don't think, oh, I need to train that exact way and my body will look like that, because it's just not the case.
If you dare to point out that I'm privileged, I'll get super offended and remind you that actually I work harder than everyone else and you're all just lazy in playing the victim. You have to want it badly enough. No excuses.
Playing the victim, and like, you have to want it badly enough. Playing the victim gets thrown around so much. I really hate that phrase, because nobody's playing the victim. Nobody wants to have like adverse circumstances, and that's something that gets thrown at me a lot. I mean, I've struggled with a lot of things. If I did my timeline, I was tempted to do a video of the last 10 years of my life and just like how much shit I've actually gone through and overcome, because I'm really proud of myself. But there's a lot, and I get told that I'm playing the victim all the time because I talk about it, because people don't like to hear about eating disorders, mental illness, mental health recovery, or like weight gain, all of the stuff that I've been through. They don't like to hear about it, so they're like, oh, you're just playing the victim. But actually, I'm showing people that you can overcome these things, that you can recover from an eating disorder, find a new way to train and enjoy it, get fit and healthy regardless of your body size, overcome a severe mental illness that for a lot of people would mean that they basically couldn't do a lot, couldn't engage in a lot. But there is hope for us, and that's why I talk about it. But I'll always get told I'm playing the victim. Anyway, back to that phrase always gets to me. This is kind of what they insinuate though, when actually fitness and wellness influencers have a lot of privilege, and that is all the things that we've covered. Being child free, and even if they aren't child free, maybe they have someone to look after their children. Having a home gym, working from home, having a high income which allows them to buy all of these wellness supplements and organic food, grass-fed beef, all of the things. I love that she's just sitting in like a massage chair, like recovery aids, all of those things cost money and do come with a lot of privilege. If you can afford to buy those things on top of like buying eggs right now, it means you have privilege. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person in any way. Most of us have privilege, but acknowledging that can help us see what it must be like for other people that don't have that privilege. But again, if these wellness and fitness influencers acknowledge that, it wouldn't fit with their narrative. They can't be like, no excuses, you've got to want it badly enough. If they're like, oh yeah, I'm quite privileged actually, I've got lots of things working in my favour. It just doesn't work with their narrative. And the reason why a lot of this stuff gets so popular is because social media algorithms love sensationalism. They love extreme. Algorithms love unattainable ideas because people eat it up. And this really impacts women especially. In social media, I've mentioned hooks before. There are visual hooks and there are verbal hooks. And a lot of the ones that influencers use are, this is what you're doing wrong. They lean into negativity. Like, this one food is going to kill you. This one food is going to hurt your health. This one food is toxic. Saying something will change your life. Those kind of sensationalist phrases are what hook people into watching the videos, and it's what the algorithm really loves. All of these influencers are in the game of trying to keep your attention and hold your attention for as long as possible. We're in something called the attention economy right now, and basically money is made by keeping your attention. So YouTube is serving you ads. TikTok is showing you TikTok shop. Instagram is keeping you on the app for as long as humanly possible so they can serve you more ads. There's that old saying that if something is free, then you are the product, and within social media, we are the product. So you may think that consuming all of this content is harmless and being informed is harmless, but the problem is a lot of it isn't based in evidence. A lot of it isn't based in science. And even when they do link studies, they're tested on a very small group of people, funded by someone dubious, or they just say a lot of anecdotal stuff. And that doesn't mean that it's true or helpful. If you think you are really burnt out, some of the symptoms of burnout are mental fatigue, feeling guilt from falling out of routines that you've set for yourself or targets that you've set for yourself around wellness and fitness, and disengagement from healthy habits. Something I learned recently from a video, I'll put the creator up here if I remember, it was about going to the gym. And there are studies that show that people end up not going to the gym because they feel so guilty because they haven't been going to the gym, that thinking about going to the gym makes them feel worse, therefore they're more likely to avoid it. And that makes a lot of sense actually, because they're avoiding pain. As humans, we're programmed to avoid pain, to avoid guilt. So if you're really burnt out with all of this and you're feeling really guilty about your fitness journey, your health journey, then you're going to want to engage with it less because you already feel so guilty about not having done it. And actually the antidote to that is self-compassion. Which is something that I personally really struggle with, but knowing that has helped me so much. And then there's this obsession with optimum nutrition, clean eating, carnivore diet, and various restrictive diets, supplementation, taking out foods that are not bad for you, but people say that they are. This can lead to anxiety around food and even in worst cases, eating disorders, something that I've personally struggled with myself. One of the main ones that will really affect people that are really into wellness and fitness and consume this kind of content will be orthorexia. And orthorexia is categorized by obsessing over health-based foods. This fixation on eating like pure foods, clean foods, and glamorizing as discipline really mirrors that kind of orthorexic behavior. And if you do think you're struggling with something like that, definitely go and seek some professional help, get a diagnosis, see if you can get some therapy. It's a long process. I am still in recovery from my eating disorder and will be for the rest of my life, but there is help out there. And obsession around food, which can also lead to food noise, which is thoughts that you have in your head constantly all the way throughout the day about the food that you're eating, critiquing, thinking about the amount of calories, the amount of protein, all of that, and it can take over your entire life. And that is me speaking from experience. My life is so much better now. I have much less food noise going on in my head. I can actually focus and be present in the moment and do so many different things because I'm not just focused on the food. I'm not thinking about when I go to a social gathering, what food is going to be there? Am I going to be able to eat it? Do I need to eat before? Do I need to bring something in some Tupperware? What can I do? Like, I literally used to make stuff to bring to gatherings because I needed something that I could eat that I felt was safe food. Because if I didn't bring something, then I just had to eat what was there, and often it was low in protein, didn't have a lot of vegetables, stuff like party food, like sausage rolls and pizzas, and that terrified me. And the antidote to all of this, to the burnout, to the obsession, is self-compassion and balance. I know it's not sexy, and I know it's not going to trend in the algorithm. You're not going to see this from fitness influencers because it's not going to make them loads of money. But intuitive eating, moving in a way that feels good for your body, and breaking free from rigid routines, just doing what fits in with your life and something that works for you is going to be better than burning out and ending up doing none of it. Sometimes awareness is the key. It's like the first step to behavior change. And hopefully, because you know this now, you'll see the content from these influencers and you'll be able to recognize the things that I've spoken about. You'll see the body checking, the discipline, no excuses kind of phrasing, the visual and the verbal hooks that they're using to keep your attention. It's not about helping you to be as healthy as possible. It's about keeping your attention so they can make more money. One of the most recent trends that all the fitness influencers are following is the winter arc. And while it might seem harmless, there are some dangerous things going on with that trend. If you want to hear more about that, then watch this video next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.